Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for Broadway World. Tony Danza is returning to Broadway in the new musical Honeymoon in Vegas by Andrew Bergman and Jason Robert Brown, which is based on Andrew's classic film. Joining Tony is Rob McClure, Bryn O'Malley, and Nancy Opel. It'll open on January 15th at the Nederlander Theater, and we drop by the rehearsal room to meet the company and bring you a sneak peek.
Dancing on the pier. I like Broadway once a year, but I love Betsy. I like visits to the zoo. I like opera. That's not true, but I love Betsy. It's been 5 years and I'm ready. Get the sparklers and confetti. Give a wink to the waiter and southern the Just like Jay-Z and Beyonce, I will make her my fiancé. I love Betsy.
What's it been like putting the show back together again?
It's been wonderful. It's been like discovering a friend who you became friends with recently, and it's been wonderful. We have mostly the same cast,
yeah.
And so it's in their bones. They really know it and love it, and it's at the same rehearsal studio. So the whole thing has been delightful.
What's this whole experience been like for you with collaborating with Jason Robert Brown?
Well,
Talk about that.
Joy, because he's so brilliant and so musical, and I love music, and he loves comedy. So it's been a really good marriage because we think it should sound like one thing. It shouldn't sound like the book, then the music. This all sounds like it came out of one oversized neurotic brain.
You had this incredible out-of-town engagement at Paper Mill. What did you learn from that, and what have you been doing now with the show?
We learned that the show basically worked, that people really love the characters, which is, to me, the crucial thing. If you care about the people, then you'll care about the story, and then you listen to the songs. And it gives us a certain confidence, not that we think, we don't have to do anything, quite the opposite, because you go out of town, you see where they're not paying so much attention, where they're coughing maybe, and then I'm doing something wrong, It's like every process. It's like I say with a movie. When you preview a movie, you see what works, what doesn't. So that was a really positive experience,
Andrew and I have been working on this show for 11 or 12 years now. So any opportunity to present it to human beings makes us extraordinarily happy, but we're going to be really happy when we're at the Nederlander Theater. So that's what we're all sort of waiting for. So you're just taking up my time until I get to Broadway, man.
At least we're smiling.
Sure. Yeah, you say so. You just look at the rest of your colleagues.
Talk about working with Andrew and collaborating on this whole process with working with him on a Broadway show.
Andrew Bergman was my comedy hero when I was a kid. I mean, there's Blazing Saddles, and there's The In-Laws, and there's The Freshman, and there's It Could Happen to You, and there's just these amazing movies that he brought to the world. And when I started working on the show, I said, I want to write Honeymoon in Vegas, but what would really be great is if I could write it with Andrew Bergman. I know he's never written a musical before, but maybe we could do it together. And to find myself all this time later having written a musical with my comedy hero is just, it's a dream come true, Richard. Jesus Christ, I'm getting all emotional. It's fucking great. It's amazing.
You have assembled one of the finest casts. I mean, talk about your leads off the nap.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I never saw Chaplin, and I've seen Bryn in a couple of things here and there, but I never saw her as a lead. And to see the two of them, and then to see what Tony brings to the table, you didn't know Tony Danza was a Broadway leading man, and he just kills it. And you get the three of them together, and there is a thing. You don't know how to manufacture chemistry. Chemistry is not a thing that you can just wake up one morning and say, I'm going to do it. And they just belong together, and you can feel it. They vibrate at the same frequency. It's just the most wonderful thing to watch them take our material, and they just throw it between them and bounce it up and down, and all of a sudden it's just alive.
Talk about what you do in the show.
I play Tony's right-hand man, Johnny Sandwich. And Johnny Sandwich is just trying to keep his boss, Tommy Corman, happy. But it gets more and more difficult as the show goes on because of the intrigue and the love and the love triangle, and it keeps Johnny running. But he loves his boss, and he just wants his boss to be happy. So,
what do you love about this whole period the show takes place in, the Vegas thing, and what do you love about it? You live so well in this world.
Yeah, I really do. Johnny Sandwich does, that is. The one thing that I love, and I know that other people are going to love, is the sound of Las Vegas, which Jason Robert Brown has crystallized beautifully. He references the golden age of that style of music, and the orchestrations just swing and soar, and people are going to flip out. They're going to,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Well, they already did at Paper Mill. That must have been great for you guys to go there. Audiences love the show, critics love the show, and now you're coming to Broadway.
Absolutely, and we were all kept our fingers crossed because it's a difficult thing. It's hard to get a show on Broadway. It's got to be really good, and the timing's got to be right. Unfortunately, we had the goods, and we had the stars aligned, and we're going to bring it.
What's it been like for you, like re-entering the rehearsal room and putting it all back together again?
Something, it's sort of like taking something really, really, really great and making it even greater. Because when you get to Broadway, you can do all the things you are hoping that you could do, we get to do now, in terms of just like production values and everything, just through the roof now and all that stuff. And then, because Andrew and Jason are overachievers, they also have just been, doing the perfect tweaky, polishy things, making jokes better. It's all about making the jokes better, And I don't know, it's a pleasure to come to work every day. It's a pleasure to see all of them. It's a pleasure to listen to the music. And, we recorded the cast album a couple of Mondays ago, and it was sensational. In fact, you could hear the overture on our new commercial, which sounds amazing. So anyway, everything's great.
Let's talk about this great role that you play.
Well, so I'm actually dead through the entire show. I'm dead, which this is my 13th show, my 13th Broadway show. And I feel like it's very lucky that I really basically don't even walk in this show. I am rolled in, I'm wheeled in, I come up from the floor all the time. I think maybe I take 4 steps in the play. Maybe.
Oh, God.
Never get mad. That's what I said. That's what she said. Sure, you'll be laughing and dancing the second I'm dead, but I will be watching.
Christ,
What else
Mom.
can I do? And if you find some girl and think I'll soften, I'll claw my way out of the coffin and run.
What has this whole experience been like for you, Gary, with taking this musical on and working on this?
Well, when I first read the show, I was blown away by it. I thought, this is a great time. What does it need? So that's really what has been my job, is to help everybody figure out what does it need in terms of design and casting and everything, because we knew what it was, we knew what it could be, and it arrived in a very, very healthy state, and all the rewrites, things that Jason and Andy have done, have made it better. But the core, what was excellent about the show, was there from the first material that I encountered. And the actors have had a great impact. Bryn O'Malley is a great collaborator. She tells you where the show is challenging and where the show is working, and you make the show better by listening to that and working on that together. There are all these imaginations in the room, and we try to encourage everybody to be part of that process. That's the way you make a good show, I think.
You've assembled an incredible cast. You talked about Bryn. I mean, Tony Danza, you were like, we wanted Tony Danza time. Why not ask Tony Danza, right?
Yes, exactly. And I think, you need to dream around and then think about, well, maybe that could happen, And so it was great to get Tony, and also then for Tony really, again, to become part of the team. And he said, here's what I do, here's what I have. And so he brought that, and then Jason and Andy also wrote to things that, we haven't seen him do. So it's been fantastic.
Talk about collaborating on this project. Your dances that we've seen, stunning. What it was like putting this all together. You live in this world, this style. What is the style of Honeymoon in Vegas?
I don't know. Some people keep asking me that. Listen, I think that Jason's score and Andy's book have so much heart and so much humanity. I mean, it's funny and stylish, but it also has so much heart. So I'm trying, I think, with the movement to have it be in the world, in the style of Las Vegas or Hawaii or whatever the location is, but have it be movement that feels expressive and joyful and is not a comment on musicals. Like it still wants to look like, human beings who are just like enjoying their life. So that's kind of my jumping off place. But there's so many influences with this too, like Elvis is a huge influence. Vegas, I feel like of the 60s, like kind of the heyday of Vegas, or what we think of as iconic Vegas, like that was a huge influence for me. Like, you know, and just the score, all the kind of rhythms that are embedded in Jason's score, like, you know, I want to dance right now thinking about it. It's like, it's so all there.
I've been doing readings of this probably on and off for about 9 years, but I always knew, I felt this is the one. And, you know, I would do other shows and come back, and I would go away and come back, and then Paper Mill happened, and it was fantastic, and now we're here.
Talk about who you play in this show.
I play two characters. The first character in the first act, I play Buddy Rocky, the lounge singer, and he's sort of like a father figure to Jack, and he pushes him forward. First, he welcomes everyone to Vegas, as everyone should, and then he sort of pushes Jack to do something and take care of things. In the second act, I play Roy Bacon, the king of the Elvises. And he also acts sort of as a father figure, and he helps him define what it is about to feel a higher love.
I know, it sounds so stupid. I feel like I can't complain about the wait to come to Broadway because Jason and Andy have been waiting 10 years, but my wait was 1.5 years, but I will say it was torturous. But it's fun. We felt like it was such a long year of waiting, and everyone was so excited to bring it, and so to be here, we've all been saying, like, each little click of the way, like every week or so something happens where you go like, oh, now it feels real. Oh, now it feels real. And today is a day where we're like, oh, it's real. Like, it's real. Yeah.
You have an audience.
Yeah, and just seeing like, oh, right, like remembering how much the show affects people and how loud they laugh and how it really moves people. It's just fun to kind of see it working again in front of people, you know?
Talk about this great role that you play.
Oh, it's Betsy Nolan is a gift for any girl. And I think as the show lives on long past us and this production and me, I think girls will continue to discover how lucky they are to be playing this part. She's one of the only cases I could think of where she's not a typical ingenue, and she's not a victim of her circumstances. I was saying earlier, like, there's so many traps for Betsy that you can easily fall into, of just kind of being not very smart or not very clever or not very quick or being a victim. And Andrew, and with the work of all of us, we've really been very careful to not let her fall into any of those traps and really let her be responsible for her own choices and in many ways sort of be the heart of the show.
All at once, I'm standing with you, and everything fades away. The hurts, the fights, the lonely nights. How could they match your smile? For here you are, the moon in your eyes. You made the wait worthwhile.
I mean, to have a show that we love so much and that we can't wait for the New York audiences to see. I mean, we come into work and we laugh from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day. And I can't wait for the audience to laugh with us. I can't wait.
Let's talk about the journey you had at Paper Mill.
Yeah.
Audiences love the show, critics love the show. I mean, it was this great out of town for you, wasn't it?
It really was. And you know, I learned more than anything out there to trust this team. That Jason Robert Brown knows music. Andrew Bergman knows funny. If he tells you to put the at the end of the sentence instead of the, you're going to get the laugh. Just do what he tells you to do. Gary Griffin is one of the most clear, concise storytellers around. And Dennis Jones, not only is his choreography beautiful, and he has these people dancing their heads off, but it's always in service of story. It never feels gratuitous, like someone's going to come out and do a triple for no reason. It always feels very rooted in why we're there and forwarding the action of the story in the best sense.
Talk about this role that you play.
Yeah, Jack Singer's fun. He's a mess. He's a neurotic mess. He's deeply in love with Betsy, but he can't commit. But he thinks he's got a good reason. His mother placed a curse on him on her deathbed, and said that if he ever gets married, she will climb out of the coffin and smite whoever he picks. So he's terrified. But they decide to elope to Vegas and run into Tony Danza, who wants her to himself. So it's me versus Tony Danza. Which, can you believe that? I never thought I'd get to say that.
All right, well, let's talk about this cast and your buddy, Tony Danza.
Yeah, I mean, it is full-on bromance. We love each other so much. And, you know, the cool thing about Tony is that he's got the goods. He's the real deal. He can sing, he can dance, he's tap dancing, he's playing the ukulele. I mean, this is a guy who has music in his soul. He really does. And what's fun is that when you talk to him about his extensive career, he really does believe it's been culminating and leading to this. It brings him the most profound joy, and all of it radiates into everyone in the room. We're just so happy to have him here.
I'm changing your name to Mr. Broadway. I thought about that the other night when I saw you on the carpet, just how you behave and how you deal with everything. Welcome back to Broadway, Tony. How does it feel?
I just want to just revel in Mr. Broadway for a second. Yeah, it feels unbelievable. And not only because I'm coming back to Broadway, which is enough, but I'm coming back to Broadway with a new show, with what I think is the best score that they've heard on Broadway in a long time. An incredible ensemble, Nancy, Bryn, Rob, David, and the kid. It's just incredible. I just feel like the luckiest guy in the world. I mean, that's really what I feel like.
This is such
The
a beautiful
luckiest
show.
guy in the world.
You are the luckiest guy in the world, Mr. Broadway. Tell me what this whole experience has been like for you, Tony, with working on the show, starting at Paper Mill, where you became this huge hit.
Well, actually, you know, it starts long before Paper Mill. I've been working on this show for 4 years, and that meant, what I mean by working on it means a myriad of presentations, of raising money, of cajoling, and all the stuff you do to try to get it from concept to the stage. We were lucky enough; we had our ups and downs, and then finally ended up at Paper Mill last year, and we just had a wonderful experience. By the way, working at Paper Mill is a great place to work and a great place to launch a show. It is an incredible role. He's a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. But he has a lot of contradictions. He's a gambler. Yeah, he's a hustler. Yeah, he's that. But he's also a word guy. He's also a romantic beyond belief, and he's one of these guys that won't give up. And I love the determination about him, And in the face of stuff that goes wrong, but he keeps. I'm going to get my way, and he's used to getting his way. By the way, that's another thing. I just think, like I said, I feel like I stepped in it. I'm just so lucky that, holy mackerel, how did I end up here?
There's a whole lot of love in the Bible.